The music faded, the priest lifted his book, and the ballroom at Riverside Country Estate held its breath. 300 guests sparkled beneath crystal lights. White roses wrapped the marble columns like clouds. The groom stood steady in a dark suit at the front, broad-shouldered, careful-eyed, the man everyone called reliable. His name was Adam Parker. Beside him, in a dress bright as morning, the bride smiled with perfect teeth. Her name was Brooke Allen. They looked like a picture from a magazine, the kind you see by the grocery store line and think, people like that win. But from the last row, a small hand rose. A boy stood up on his chair, thin as a reed and brave as a lion. Jake Parker, age 9, clutched a slim blue folder to his chest like a life jacket and said, in a voice that carried farther than it should, "I do. Dad, please don't. She's lying to you. She wants to take everything and leave us." Silence snapped in half. Shoes scuffed. Pearls clicked. Cameras that were ready to catch a kiss caught a child instead. For a second, just a second, the bride's smile broke. Her eyes flashed something cold, like a door opening on a winter room. Jake's heart hit his ribs hard. He didn't feel his knees shake. He didn't feel the weight of 300 stairs. He felt one thing. His dad turning to look at him like a man pulled out of a dream. The priest lowered his book. A string from the violin trembled in the air and died. Someone whispered, "Is this part of it?" Someone else? No way. Jake held the folder tighter. "Dad," he said again, softer but stronger, "please listen to me." Hey everyone, welcome to our story. Smash that like, hit subscribe, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from, because what happens next will make your mouth fall open. 3 days earlier, Jake sat on the stairs at home, counting the steps like he did when his head got too full. 1, 2, 3, pause, 4, 5, 6. The Parker townhouse smelled like lemon cleaner and fried chicken. Afternoon sun laid gold across the banister. On the wall were pictures of Mom, not many because time can be mean, but enough. Her name had been Megan. She laughed in every frame like she was trying to teach the camera how. She'd been gone for 3 years, and the ache had learned to walk beside them like a quiet friend. When Brooke came into their lives, she was soft at first, gentle hands, warm voice. She brought cupcakes. She brought new towels. She brought a tiny glass vase with white stones at the bottom. She called Jake Buddy, and told Adam he looked tired and needed care. People want care. People buy it when someone sells it well. For a while, Jake believed her. You want to believe someone wants your dad to be happy. But little things turned into big things. The cupcakes stopped coming. The vases multiplied with rules that came attached. No crumbs on the white rug, it stains. No shoes in the entry, it scuffs. No old photos in the living room, they're depressing. The last one felt like a hand reaching into Jake's chest and moving furniture around. He learned to say, okay. He learned to smile like it didn't matter. He was 9. He understood more than people thought and less than people feared. That day on the stairs, Brooke's heels clicked across the kitchen tile. Her voice was sweet like tea with too much sugar. "Adam, baby, can you sign that vendor check? The florist needs final payment." Jake heard his dad, tired, kind. "Left the pen in my bag. I'll grab it in a minute." Pause. Running water. The fridge door. Then a second voice, low and fast, a man's voice Jake didn't know. "He's not signing anything without me seeing it first. You'll get the other 5% after the vows." Brooke's voice changed when she thought no one listened. It got sharp at the edges. "Relax, Derek. He trusts me. He always has." Jake stopped counting steps. He pressed closer to the banister, breath held. The voices were thin, like they were talking through a keyhole. He slid one more step down and froze in the shadow where the hallway met the kitchen doorway. He had learned where the house could hide him. It felt unfair to learn those things, but kids learn what they must. Derek said, "You got him to cancel the prenup meeting?" Brooke laughed once, quiet but cruel. "He canceled it himself. Gave me some speech about trust. I just had to look sad and say, if you don't trust me, maybe we shouldn't get married. Works like a charm." Jake's stomach turned to water. He pictured his dad's face when he said things that made other people feel safe. He pictured the day Mom got sick and Dad promised 3 things. "I won't lie to you. I'll take care of Jake. I'll keep the house full of light." Jake didn't know what a prenup really was, but he knew it was a rule that kept people safe. He knew rules that protect should not be canceled for a smile. Brooke went on. "When the bank move clears, we split. You wire to the Shell account. I take the lake house for a few weeks, post some photos, then vanish. You're the guy who handled the merger. I'm the sad wife who needed space. Poor Adam. He'll be fine. Men like that always land on their feet." Derek's voice got bored. "Whatever. Just remember, I don't do jail. Brooke's laugh felt like a piece of glass. Then don't get caught. The tap ran again. A drawer slid. Steps came toward the hall. Jake scurried 3 steps up and folded himself into the shadow. He had practiced being small. Brooke passed beneath him, phone to her ear, voice warm again. Hi, sweetheart. Yes, I'll bring the new tie. So handsome. When the door clicked shut behind her, the house felt wrong. It felt like when you wake and the room looks like yours but the pictures are crooked and the bed faces the wrong way. Jake stood at the kitchen doorway. The floor was clean. The vase was right where she left it, white stones stacked like teeth. He walked to the table on tiptoes. A half-open planner lay there, neat and square. He didn't touch it. He looked instead at the counter where a folder sat like it had no secrets at all. Deep blue. A little sticky note on top. Bank letters, for your records. That's what people write when they don't want you to read. He didn't open it. He was 9. He was honest, but he could look without touching. He leaned close. Through the clear sleeve on the front, he saw a line of print where a number lived. The number was big. Another line said, beneficiary change form. He didn't know those words, not truly, but they felt like a warning. He stepped back. A memory flashed. Mom once saying, if you hear the truth but don't understand it, bring it to me and we'll understand it together. There was no mom to bring it to. There was only his dad with his careful eyes and Brooke with her careful lies. That night, when the townhouse went quiet and the streetlights painted soft squares on the floor, Jake lay awake and made a plan. He would be brave. He would be fair. He would try to talk to Dad first without sounding like a mad kid who hates change. He practiced lines in a whisper. Dad, can we check something? Dad, I feel weird about the bank stuff. Dad, what's a prenup? He tried to imagine his dad's face, open, tired, kind, and how to reach the part that listened. But when he heard Brooke's door open down the hall and her steps move light to the kitchen, he slid out of bed like a shadow and followed the sound. He stayed far back. He watched from the bend in the hall. The kitchen light was low. The fridge glow made everything look like a winter morning. Brooke put a small black flash drive into her purse. She took a stack of envelopes out and moved them into a different folder. She pulled down the wedding binder and slid a thin packet between 2 plastic sleeves. Then she did one more thing that made Jake cold. She turned to the wall shelf where Mom's last photo sat. Mom in a blue dress at the seashore, hair flying, and she lifted it. She held it like it weighed nothing. She looked at it a long time with a face that said nothing. Then she put it in a drawer and shut the drawer hard. She turned off the light and walked away like she had closed a door in someone else's house. The next morning, pancakes sat heavy in Jake's mouth. He tasted flour and worry. Adam sat across the table in a white shirt rolled at the sleeves, tie draped loose around his neck, laptop open. He looked like a man trying to carry too many boxes and smile at the same time. Big day tomorrow, Adam said. You're my best man, buddy. The word buddy was a bridge Adam built between them. Jake felt the urge to run across it. He swallowed. Dad, he said, keeping his voice level, what's a prenup? Adam blinked. That one surprised him. He put his fork down slowly, eyes soft but careful. It's a paper some people sign before they marry so things are clear. It protects both people. It's not very romantic. Did you sign one with Brooke? Adam shifted, the smile not leaving but going thinner. We decided not to. We choose trust. The word trust landed like a stone. Jake leaned forward. Can we look at some bank letters? Just to be safe. Adam looked at him like a man who hears water running in the walls and hopes it's the neighbor's shower. Why would we need to do that? His voice wasn't hard, but there was offense in it now. Brooke walked in then, bright as a morning commercial, kissing Adam's hair and ruffling Jake's head like he was a small dog. What are my boys whispering about? She asked. Adam smiled up at her. Jake has questions about money. Brooke laughed like a bell. Oh sweetie, money is boring. Let me show you the ring box instead. She set a small velvet square in front of Jake and flipped it open. A diamond winked up at him like a mean star. Pretty, huh? Jake heard his own voice come out too flat. It looks sharp. Brooke tilted her head, eyes searching his face for something, then smoothing over. Sharp is good, she said. Sharp keeps people safe. That afternoon, Jake did what Mom would have told him to do. If you smell smoke and don't see a flame, look for heat. He went to the back office. He didn't touch Dad's desk. He didn't open Brooke's binder. He just looked around like a detective who knows he might only get one look. On the shelf was a box labeled Wedding Vendor Copies. Inside were receipts and charts with colors and the word timeline. Boring unless you're trying to keep a day from crashing. He put the lid back. On the floor beside the desk sat a shredder with a belly full of thin paper spaghetti. A few pieces stuck up where the blades had jammed. He pulled one carefully. It was a letter header from a bank he'd seen once when they opened a college account in Mom's name years ago. The letter had black lines through it from the shredding, but he could read pieces. Transfer, post-wedding, beneficiary, Alan. His hand shook. He fed the strip back in and stepped away like it had burned him through his skin. When he turned, he saw the blue folder again, half hidden under a stack of menus for the rehearsal dinner. He didn't open it. He did the best thing he could think of. He went to his room, wrote everything he had heard and seen on wide-ruled paper. Dates, words, what voices said and how they sounded. He wrote it plain like a school report about something ugly. Then he slid the paper into a plastic sleeve and clipped it into his own little folder. One of those school ones with pockets and brads. He put the folder inside the blue one when no one was looking because he wanted his truth to travel with the thing that might try to hide it. He felt bad doing it, like sneaking snacks, but the feeling that followed was stronger. He felt like he had put a note in a bottle and thrown it into the right river. That night, rain walked across the windows. The townhouse breathed slow. Adam and Brooke argued in quiet voices behind their door about napkin colors, but it sounded like they were arguing about something bigger without naming it. Jake lay awake and remembered Mom telling him stories about storms. "What's the rule?" she would ask. He would answer, "Count between lightning and thunder." She would nod. "If the numbers get smaller, the storm is coming closer. If the numbers get bigger, it's moving away." He counted the spaces in his own life now. The spaces were getting smaller. In the morning, the rehearsal ran like a shiny train. People complimented Brooke's taste in flowers. People patted Adam's shoulder and said, "You deserve this." Jake stood in his little suit and tied his tie too tight. When he loosened it, Brooke's friend Lily, older, with a smile that never reached her eyes, leaned down and said, "Don't wrinkle. Photos matter." He wanted to ask her what part of a photo mattered when the people inside it were lying, but he said, "Okay," because sometimes okay is a raft on a fast river. After the rehearsal, Brooke took Adam's phone to help with scheduled texts. She held it like a trophy while she typed. She put her own phone face down on the table, then slid it into her purse when she thought no one watched. Jake watched. He always watched. That afternoon, Dad took Jake for ice cream like he had promised. They sat on a curb in their suits without jackets, shirt sleeves catching the sun. People in the parking lot smiled because a father and son eating cones looks like hope. Adam looked sideways at Jake and said, "You seem far away, buddy." Jake looked at the puddle by his shoe. He could see the sky in it. "Dad," he said, and he felt his whole body lean into the word. "If I knew something bad and I told you, would you believe me?" Adam's mouth tightened but his eyes warmed. "I would listen to you. I would always listen to you." Jake nodded. Listening was a start, but belief is a door you still have to walk through. He tried again, simple. "I think Brooke is doing something with money that hurts us." The words felt too big for his mouth, like marbles. Adam set his cone down on the napkin and turned his whole body toward Jake. "What did you see?" Jake told him about the late-night kitchen, about the folder, about the word he didn't understand but felt, beneficiary. He told him about the photo of Mom going into the drawer. He told him about the voices that changed when they thought they were alone. He did not cry. He didn't want his tears to look like a trick. When he finished, the parking lot felt too bright. Adam sat still for a long time, like he was trying to stare through fog and see a road. Finally he said, "Sometimes grown-up things sound more scary than they are." The sentence felt like a blanket thrown over a fire. "But," Adam added, and a tiny light turned on in his voice, "you did the right thing telling me." He ruffled Jake's hair and stood up. "We're okay." The words, "we're okay," sounded like a man talking to himself. At sunset, the rehearsal dinner filled a private room at a restaurant by the river. Toasts were lifted. Laughter bounced off brick walls. Brooke's father told a story that made Adam look like a hero. Adam's sister, April, squeezed Jake's hand under the table when she saw him twisting his napkin. She had Mom's same kind eyes. "You good, kiddo?" she whispered. He nodded. "Not good. Just steady." When the cakes came and everyone stood to clap for the couple, Jake slipped away to the hallway where the old payphone used to be. The empty metal box on the wall made a little cave where sound didn't travel. He took his small folder out of his jacket and opened it to check the notes like a soldier counting the last bullets. He saw something new that made his heart thud. Tucked into the back pocket was a printed email he hadn't put there. It was folded once. He opened it with careful hands. The words were short and sharp. Subject, final step. From Derek at to B.Allen at. Move the account Sunday by noon. After vows you'll have the window. Call me from a different phone. Destroy this. Jake's breath came quick. The paper shook. He looked down the hall. On the far side, by the coat rack, a small woman with gray hair stood like a statue, watching him. She wore a black dress and a necklace that looked like a tiny bird. Her face was lined but alive. She had been the violinist at the rehearsal. Now she was just a person in a hall. She stepped forward 2 steps, the softest steps, and said, "Careful, little one. Walls have ears." Her voice was gentle. Jake didn't know her. He didn't trust anyone, but he didn't feel afraid of her either. "Do you know my dad?" he asked. She smiled with only half her mouth. "I know men who keep walking even when the ground moves under them." She nodded toward his folder. "If you carry fire, carry water too." Then she turned and walked away, shoes whispering against the floor. Jake stood alone with his heart beating like a drum. The morning of the wedding came like a bright coin. The estate looked unreal, like it had been painted and dried overnight. People flowed toward the ballroom in tuxedos and soft dresses. Cameras waited. The planner moved around with a headset, talking to the air. Jake stood at the mirror in the dressing room and fixed his tie. He looked himself in the eyes and said the words out loud, because sometimes words only become real when your ears catch them. "I will tell the truth." He slipped the folder under his jacket. He felt shorter than the mirror thought he should be. He walked into the hall and saw Brooke at the far end, alone for once, checking her lipstick in a small gold compact. He didn't plan to talk to her. He planned to talk to his dad. But Brooke turned, and their eyes met in the middle of too much space. Her smile was soft. "Big day," she said. "You ready, Jake?" He held her gaze, which felt like holding a hot pan with bare hands. "Yes," he said. "I'm ready." Her eyes flicked to his jacket like she could see through the cloth. Then she stepped closer, too close, and laid a hand on his shoulder, light, like a feather that thinks it's a stone. "Your dad needs this," she whispered. "Don't ruin it." The words were simple, but they felt like a hook catching skin. She walked away before he could answer, and he stood there with something in his chest that wouldn't move. The processional music rose. People turned. The smell of roses climbed the air. Adam walked to the front with the priest. Brooke glided down the aisle like she was born to float. Jake took his place, small and straight. He felt the folder against his ribs. He thought of Mom, of the way she would tip her head when truth knocked and say, "Open the door." The priest spoke the words people expect. Laughter came in the right places. Then came the line that opens a space big enough for courage to walk through. "If anyone knows a reason these two should not be wed, speak now or forever hold your peace." The world got quiet. Jake felt the moment touch his shoulder. He lifted his hand. His voice did not shake. "I do," he said. "Please don't marry her." The room exploded in whispers. The planner froze with the headset half raised. The videographer swung his camera like it had a mind. Adam turned, face pale, eyes shocked and still gentle. "Jake," he said soft, "please don't do this to yourself." Brooke's smile fell off like a mask at the end of a play. "Security," someone hissed. "What is this, someone else?" Jake swallowed and stepped out into the aisle. His hands were steady because being scared and being steady can happen at the same time. He pulled the blue folder from his jacket and held it up like a torch. "I heard you," he said to Brooke, not yelling, not crying, just clear. "I heard you tell Derek to move Dad's money after the vows. I saw the beneficiary paper. I saw you hide Mom's picture." He lifted the printed email with the line, "Destroy this." Gasps cracked across the room like ice breaking. Brooke's voice came soft and sweet for the crowd. "Oh honey, that's a mistake." He's confused. Kids misunderstand adult things. People nodded because it's easier to nod than to change your mind in public. But Jake didn't look away. "Then let's check your phone," he said. "The black flash drive in your purse. The envelope you moved. We can ask the bank if any papers changed." He turned to his dad. He did not blink. "Please. For me. Just check." Adam's face looked like a man trying to hold 3 truths at once. His love, his son, and the fear that one of them was lying. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. The priest stepped back like he had touched a wire. The guests leaned in. The air got heavy. Brooke's eyes narrowed so fast the temperature dropped. She took one step toward Jake, careful and slow, then another like a cat crossing a fence. "You little," she started, then cut the word in half and pasted on a new smile. "Of course," she said brightly, "check anything you want." She reached for her purse on the front row. A tall man in a gray suit who hadn't been part of either family, Derek, stood near the back wall, suddenly very interested in the door. Jake saw him. Their eyes met. Derek looked away too late. He pressed his finger to his earpiece. Jake didn't know grown men wore earpieces unless they were trying to look important or trying to hide. Derek moved 1 foot toward the exit. A guard by the door shifted. April, Adam's sister, rose from her seat, her face thunder and light all at once. "Adam," she said, voice clear, "listen to your son." Adam nodded once, a small nod like a man taking the first step onto a shaking bridge. "We'll pause," he told the room, voice even. "Everyone sit, please." He turned to Brooke. "Let me see the phone." Brooke smiled, the corners trapped. "Of course," she said again, like a person reading a line she didn't like. She opened her purse, hand dipping in, fingers moving quick. Jake felt the hair on his arms lift. He had seen that move before in movies where someone chooses a trick over the truth. "Dad," he said, throat tight, "don't let her delete anything." Adam reached for the purse. Brooke's hand came out, empty. "I can't find it," she said, voice soft, eyes wet in a breath. "Maybe I left it in the car." The room hissed as one. People love to see a mask slip. Derek took another step toward the exit. The guard put a hand out. "Sir, we're paused," he said. Derek smiled without teeth. "I need the restroom." The guard didn't move. "Restrooms are the other way." Jake looked up at his dad and saw the choice forming in real time. Trust the boy with the brave eyes or the woman with the bright dress. Adam's mouth set. "We'll check the car together," he said. Brooke's eyes flashed again. Her voice went silk. "You don't trust me?" she asked, and there it was, that old trick she used to end questions. But Adam didn't look away this time. He held his hand out. "The purse stays here." Brooke set it down like it bit her. Adam gave it to April. "Watch this," he said. April nodded. The air felt like a storm right before it breaks, pressure pressing down, light turning strange. Jake stepped closer to his dad, folder still up. "There's more," he whispered. "I wrote what I heard. I think the florist money is part of it. The bank letter too." Adam looked at the pages and then at his son like he was seeing him for the first time, not as a boy but as a person standing in front of him with a lantern in a dark place. "Okay," he said louder to the room. "We will take 10 minutes. He turned to the priest. "Please excuse us." People started to stand. The planner spoke into her headset fast. The musicians lifted their instruments and then lowered them again, strings humming in confusion. Then something happened that nobody planned, that no timeline could fix. The doors at the back of the ballroom swung open hard. 2 men in plain suits stepped inside with the calm that belongs to people who ask questions for a living. One held a folder. The other scanned the room and then settled on Derek, on Brooke, on Adam, and finally on Jake with the blue folder. He raised a hand. His voice was polite but final. "Nobody leave." He nodded toward the security guard. "Close the doors." The guard hesitated, then obeyed. The latches clicked like locks in a story where the next chapter comes too fast. Brooke's face drained and filled again like a wave. Derek's jaw went tight enough to crack. Adam put his hand around Jake's shoulder, pulling him close, and Jake felt, for the first time in days, the ground under his feet hold steady, but only for a breath, because the men in suits opened their own folder and the top page had a name bold at the center. The name was Brooke Allen, and beneath it were words nobody wanted to hear at a wedding. And that was the exact second the lights flickered, the microphone squealed, and a voice from the back, shaky, familiar, older, called out, "I have something to say about her too." The voice at the back of the ballroom trembled but carried strength, like a bell cracked but still ringing. Everyone turned. The crowd parted, revealing a man in his early 50s with weathered skin and a limp that spoke of hard years. He wore a plain gray jacket, no tie, and held a worn leather briefcase tight against his chest. Jake had never seen him before, but Brooke's face turned as white as the roses behind her. Her lips parted, and for the first time since she entered their lives, she looked afraid. "You," she whispered, barely audible. The man's name was Michael Turner. He was Brooke's ex-husband, the one she swore had died in an accident 5 years ago. But here he was, breathing, walking, and carrying secrets heavy enough to bend his shoulders. The 2 men in suits, federal investigators, moved toward him fast, but he raised a hand. "I'm not here to run," Michael said, voice steadying. "I'm here to tell the truth. You've been looking for Brooke Allen?" He opened his briefcase slowly, his fingers shaking as he pulled out a folder. "That's not her real name. She used to be Brooke Turner. We were married. She drained my business accounts, vanished with a man named Derek, and left me with debt I didn't make. I've spent years tracking her." He turned to Adam. "Sir, I think she's doing the same thing to you." Gasps rippled through the crowd like wind through dry leaves. The priest stepped back again, his cross trembling in his hand. Brooke tried to laugh, a sound sharp and wrong. That's ridiculous, she said. He's insane. He's obsessed. He's been stalking me for years. But the agents had already opened her purse. Inside, beneath a layer of tissues and lipstick, was the black flash drive Jake had seen the night before. One of them plugged it into a laptop the planner offered, the screen facing Adam. The screen filled with documents, emails, transfers, accounts, names, and a single folder labeled After Vows. The files showed timelines and numbers matching Adam's accounts. Brooke's face drained color until she looked like paper. It's not what it looks like, she whispered, but her voice broke in the middle. Jake clutched his father's sleeve. I told you, Dad, he said, his voice shaking but full of relief. Adam's hand went to Jake's shoulder, and he squeezed, not too hard, but enough to say, I see you now. The guests began to murmur louder, confusion blending with disbelief. April, Adam's sister, stood tall. Call security. No one leaves, she ordered. Her voice didn't sound like family, it sounded like leadership. One of the agents nodded and moved toward Derek, who tried again for the exit. Sir, the agent said, stay where you are. Derek turned, jaw tightening, then bolted sideways toward a side door. Chaos followed. Guests screamed. The music equipment fell. Adam pushed Jake behind him instinctively. Derek made it 3 steps before another guard tackled him to the ground, the folder from his jacket scattering across the marble floor. Pages fluttered like broken wings. Brooke screamed. Stop. You don't know what you're doing. She lunged forward, trying to reach Derek, but the agents caught her by both arms. Her perfect hair came loose, her veil sliding down. You think you're the only one who lost everything? She yelled at Adam, her voice cracking. You think I wanted this life? You had everything handed to you, money, love, that perfect little house. People like me have to steal light just to survive. The words echoed across the hall. Jake's heart hurt at how broken she sounded, but the pain didn't erase what she had done. Adam's voice came out low, steady, full of something between anger and sadness. You didn't have to hurt a child to survive. Brooke stopped fighting for a second, her face softening like she almost remembered she once had a soul. But then her eyes darted to Jake's folder still in his small hands. That boy ruined everything, she hissed. You ruined me. The agents tightened their grip and led her toward the exit. As they passed, she looked back once more, tears mixing with makeup. You'll understand one day, she said quietly, when love isn't enough to pay the bills. Silence stretched across the ballroom like fog. No one clapped, no one whispered. Even the chandeliers seemed to dim. Adam turned to Jake, kneeling so they were eye level. You saved me, he said. His voice cracked on the word saved. You saved us both. Jake shook his head, small tears finally escaping. I just wanted you to be happy, Dad. But not like that. Adam pulled him into a hug so tight it lifted Jake off the floor. Guests wiped their eyes. The priest closed his book quietly. Then Michael Turner stepped forward again, hat in hand. I'm sorry, he said softly. I didn't mean to crash your day, sir. But that woman destroyed too many lives. You've got a brave kid there. Adam looked at him, still holding Jake close. Thank you, he said, voice low. I guess we both needed to see the truth. Michael nodded and left the ballroom quietly, the agents following behind with Brooke and Derek in cuffs. The doors closed, leaving behind silence and the smell of roses that suddenly felt wrong. When the guests finally began to leave, whispering in small clusters, April walked over and hugged Jake. You did something most grown-ups wouldn't have had the courage to do, she said. You stood up for truth even when it scared you. Jake leaned against her side. I thought nobody would believe me, he murmured. April smiled sadly. The right people will. Sometimes it just takes time. Later that evening, the estate was empty except for Adam and Jake sitting together by the grand fountain outside. The sunset turned the water gold. The breeze carried the sound of laughter from somewhere far away, not theirs but enough to remind them joy still existed. Adam spoke first. I kept thinking love meant never questioning, he said. That if I just trusted enough, things would be fine. But love without truth isn't real, is it? Jake shook his head. Mom used to say truth is love's best friend, he said quietly. If you lose one, you lose the other. Adam smiled faintly, eyes glassy. Your mom was right. He looked out at the fading sky. I miss her every day, Jake. I thought maybe if I moved on, the hurt would stop. Does it? Jake asked. Adam sighed. Not really. It just changes shape. They sat in silence for a while, listening to the water. The estate lights came on one by one, soft and yellow. A car pulled up near the gate and a woman stepped out. It was Detective Marlene Ortiz, One of the agents from earlier, now without her jacket. She walked over slowly. "Mr. Parker," she said gently, "we'll need statements from both of you tomorrow, but you can rest easy tonight. It's over." Adam nodded. "Thank you." She smiled at Jake. "You've got guts, kid." Not many people would have spoken up like that in a room full of grown-ups. Jake looked down embarrassed. "I just didn't want my dad to get hurt." The detective touched his shoulder. "That's the kind of courage the world needs more of." After she left, Adam stood, stretching tiredly. "Let's go home, champ." They walked to the car together, hand in hand. The drive back to their townhouse felt quiet but peaceful. The city lights flickered past like tiny stars. Jake leaned his head against the window, watching the world move. "Dad," he said softly, "do you think she ever loved you?" Adam hesitated before answering. "Maybe in her way. Some people love what they can take from you more than who you are. That's not real love, it's need dressed as care." Jake nodded slowly, trying to understand. "Then I'm glad I stopped her," he whispered. When they reached home, the familiar smell of lemon cleaner greeted them. The photos on the wall waited silently. Adam picked up the frame of Megan at the beach, the one Brooke had hidden, and set it back in its place on the mantel. "She should never have been put away," Adam said. He turned to Jake. "Your mom would be proud of you." Jake smiled softly. "I hope so." That night, as rain began to fall again outside, Adam tucked Jake into bed. The thunder rumbled like a tired drum. "You okay?" he asked. Jake nodded. "Can I keep the blue folder?" Adam chuckled gently. "You can keep it. But maybe next time we'll fill it with something nicer, like drawings or stories." Jake smiled, pulling the blanket to his chin. "Maybe I'll write about today," he said sleepily, "so nobody forgets." Adam brushed his hair back. "Then it'll be a story about courage." When Adam closed the door, he stood for a long time in the hallway, listening to his son's slow breathing. He walked to the living room and sank onto the couch. The TV flickered faintly, playing an old movie he wasn't watching. His mind replayed every word, every warning he'd ignored. Trust, love, blindness, all tangled. He realized something his wife had once said before she got sick. "The truth doesn't always protect you from pain, Adam. It protects you from living a lie." The phone rang, breaking the quiet. It was April. "How's Jake?" she asked. "Sleeping," Adam said. "Braver than anyone I know." April's voice softened. "You did right by him today. Both of you did." "I hope so," he replied. "The whole world saw our mess." "Sometimes the world has to see the mess to believe the miracle," April said. "Tomorrow will look different." Morning came gray and calm. The papers were already full of headlines. "Boy exposes bride scheme during wedding ceremony." Adam turned off the TV before Jake came downstairs, but Jake had already seen a photo online. Him standing in the aisle, holding the folder. "They're calling me brave," Jake said shyly. "You are brave," Adam said. "But bravery isn't about being in the news. It's about doing what's right even when no one claps." Jake smiled. "Then I'd do it again." They spent the morning cleaning up the house, putting Mom's photos back, folding laundry, making pancakes that actually tasted good this time. Adam laughed for the first time in weeks. "You think we can survive without a wedding planner?" he teased. Jake grinned. "I think we already did." As they ate, the doorbell rang. On the porch stood Michael Turner again, hat in hand. "Sorry to bother," he said. "I just wanted to thank you. The truth coming out today helped close my case too. Maybe I can finally start over." Adam nodded and shook his hand firmly. "Maybe we both can." Michael smiled at Jake. "Take care of your old man, kid." Jake laughed. "I always do." After he left, Adam stood in the doorway for a long moment, feeling the cool breeze of morning. He turned to Jake. "What do you want to do today?" Jake thought for a second. "Can we go to the park? Mom used to take me there to feed the ducks." Adam's chest tightened, but he smiled. "Yeah, let's go feed the ducks." At the park, kids ran, dogs barked, and life moved on. Jake tossed breadcrumbs into the pond, watching the ducks fight over tiny pieces. "Dad," he said suddenly, "when you get married again, can you make sure she likes ducks?" Adam laughed so hard he had to wipe his eyes. "Deal." They sat there until the sky turned gold again, and in that light, both felt something new, a calm that didn't come from perfection but from survival. The hurt hadn't vanished, but the truth had given them back their peace. Adam looked down at Jake, who was tracing shapes in the dirt with a stick, humming softly. "You changed everything, Jake," he said quietly. "You saved my life and hers too, maybe?" Jake shrugged, smiling. "I just told the truth." As they walked back to the car, A breeze moved through the trees and Adam thought of Megan again, the way she always said, "Teach him that honesty isn't easy, but it's always worth it." He looked at his son and realized that lesson had come full circle. The boy had done what grown men sometimes fail to do, stand up for love even when it hurts. And though their story wasn't over, one truth stood tall that evening, the kind that changes a family forever. When you choose truth over comfort, pain over silence, and courage over fear, you don't just save someone's day. You save their life. Morning light slides across Jake's bedroom wall like slow water. He wakes before his alarm because his head is already loud. The house is quiet except for the sound of a truck on the street and the soft tick of the hallway clock. He stares at the ceiling for a long time, then pushes off his blanket and sits up. His blue folder sits on the desk like a small brave soldier after a battle. He walks over, opens it, and checks the papers again even though he knows every word. His notes are neat. His handprints are on the plastic sleeves. He closes it and touches the cover like he's saying thank you. From the kitchen he hears the low clink of a mug and the soft rush of the coffee machine. His dad is awake. Jake goes down the hall, rubbing his eyes, hair sticking up, socks sliding on the wood floor. Adam stands at the counter in a faded t-shirt, reading an email on his phone, not touching his coffee. He looks like a man who slept but didn't rest. He looks up and tries a smile that almost makes it. "Hey champ," he says. "You hungry?" Jake shrugs. "A little." Adam nods, sets the phone face down like the message can't chase him if it can't see him, and cracks eggs into a pan. The sizzle sounds like normal life. Jake sits on a stool and watches the bright yellow swirl. "Is everything okay?" he asks. Adam takes a breath. "Mostly. The detectives called. We give our statements today at 2. Also, the bank placed a hold until they finish their review. It's a safety step, but it means things are tight for a few days." Jake frowns. "Tight like, we can't pay for stuff?" Adam scrapes the eggs gently, voice calm. "Tight like I have to make some calls and move some meetings? We'll be fine." He lays the eggs on 2 plates and pushes one to Jake. Big day." Jake looks at his dad's face more than the food. He sees the careful behind the calm. He eats anyway. Food in his mouth makes thinking less sharp, which is good sometimes. After breakfast, the doorbell rings. The sound makes both of them jump even though it's just a bell. Adam wipes his hands, goes to the door and checks the camera. It's April, carrying a paper bag the size of a small child and a second tote with a rolled poster sticking out. When she walks in, the whole room brightens a notch. "Emergency muffins," she declares, putting the bag on the table. "And a plain poster board for your folder hero to mount his notes if the detectives want a timeline." She winks at Jake. "I know how to read a room." Jake smiles, surprised by the warmth that hits his chest. Adam hugs her longer than usual. "Thanks," he says into her shoulder. She lets him hold on. "You don't have to do this alone," she says softly. "You know that, right?" He nods but doesn't say yes because he isn't used to saying yes to help. While they snack on muffins, a buzz starts in Adam's phone, then another, like a small hive woke up inside it. He flips it over, frowns. "I'm getting messages from clients, the office, reporters," he says. "Some are kind. Some are not kind." April opens her tote and pulls out a thick binder labeled media. "I wrote a 3-sentence statement you can read or post," she says, sliding a paper across. Short, true, no details. It stops the bleeding without feeding gossip. Adam reads the words and exhales like someone opened a window. "Where did you learn to do this?" he asks. She grins. "Being the older sister to a guy who leaps before he looks." She squeezes his hand. "I'm proud of you." "I'm proud of him," she adds, tipping her head toward Jake. "We'll make it through." Jake goes to school late because of the statement appointment. In the car, he presses his forehead against the cool window and watches buildings pass like slow blocks. He doesn't know what the kids will say. He doesn't know if his picture is on someone's phone. He doesn't know if teachers will talk softer to him like he's a baby or harder like he's a problem. When they get to the curb, he unbuckles too slow. Adam puts a hand on his shoulder. "You didn't do anything wrong," he says. "If anyone gives you a hard time, tell your teacher and text me right away. I'm here." Jake nods, swallows, climbs out, shoulders his backpack. The sidewalk feels long. Inside, the hall smells like pencil shavings and bleach. 2 kids he sort of knows whisper and look at him, then look away fast like a hot stove. In class, his teacher, Mr. Young, smiles carefully. "Glad you're here, Jake," he says in a regular voice that Jake appreciates. He sits, opens his notebook and pretends to copy the board. But under the desk, his hands move to the blue folder in his bag, just to check that it's still there even though he didn't bring the real blue folder to school. Only a folder that's blue because it makes him feel safe. At recess, a boy with a loud laugh says, "My mom says your dad almost married a thief." The word thief hits Jake like a pebble to the forehead. He squares his shoulders. "She was a liar," he says. "I stopped it." The boy blinks, mouth open, then shrugs and runs toward the soccer ball. Another kid in a striped hoodie walks over and says, "My uncle says sometimes grown-ups don't see stuff." He kicks the dirt. "You saw it." His voice is simple. Feels like a small bridge. "Want to sit by the fence?" he asks. They sit without talking and watch the clouds move slow like boats. For 5 minutes, the world is easy. At noon, Adam picks Jake up. They drive to the precinct, a brick building that tries hard not to look scary. Detective Marlene Ortiz meets them by the glass doors. She's in a navy sweater today, hair in a low bun, eyes that say she slept a little more than yesterday. "We'll keep this simple," she says. "I know it's a lot." In the small interview room, the table is too big and the chairs are too hard. There's a box of tissues like the room is used to tears. Marlene shows them the list of questions. "We'll record your statements," she says. "You can stop anytime." Adam nods. "Okay." Jake looks at the little red light on the recorder and feels his heart do a drum roll. He tells his part the same way he wrote it, plain, step by step, with no extra. He says how he heard voices, how he saw papers, how he wrote notes, how the email looked, how he felt. His voice shakes twice. He doesn't hide it. When he finishes, Marlene stops the recorder and gives him a soft smile. "You did great," she says. "You were clear and brave." She looks at Adam. "Next part is you." Adam's statement is longer and more complicated because grown-up life has more corners. He explains finances in simple words. He explains trust and why he canceled the prenup meeting and how that choice grew from pain and hope. He explains the florist payment and why a number that looked normal wasn't. He explains the binder and the missing phone and the purse left on the chair. He does not explain shame, but it sits quietly in the room like a fourth person. When he finishes, Marlene clicks the recorder off. "We have enough to move forward," she says. "There's a hearing tomorrow about bail. The DA will argue to hold both suspects without it. There's also a flag on your accounts to block any more changes we didn't create. We'll put a watch on your house for a few days just as a precaution." Adam nods. "Thank you." Marlene stands. "One more thing," she adds, voice slower. "After the wedding, some evidence we didn't expect turned up in the gear cases from the string quartet. A small phone hidden under a felt liner. It was unlocked. It has messages between Brooke and a third contact we haven't identified yet. The name is saved as OWL. She looks at Adam. "Do you recognize that?" Adam shakes his head. "No," Jake says quietly, "an owl sees in the dark." Marlene nods. "Exactly. Whoever OWL is, they planned from the shadows. We think they set up the shell accounts. We're pulling those threads now." They leave the precinct under a sky that can't decide between sun and rain. Jake feels the air press on his skin like the weather is a hand. At home, April is at the dining table with stacks of mail, a highlighter, and 2 neat piles labeled "Keep and Call." She points at a third small pile. "Fan mail," she says, half a joke. 3 people from the church and 1 person from your old baseball team sent cards for Jake. "You have friends." Jake smiles and touches the envelopes with 1 finger. The paper is thick and kind. Adam puts water on for tea, then leans on the counter like his legs need help. "They found messages to someone called OWL," he tells April. "Like a third partner." April's eyes sharpen. "So we're not done," she says. "We keep the lights on. We keep the doors locked. We breathe." She glances at Jake and softens again. "And we eat something green." She lifts a bag of salad with a face like she knows no one will cheer but still believes in spinach. The afternoon moves like an old clock, steady and slow. Jake tries homework but ends up drawing instead. He draws the ballroom, the aisle, himself small but standing. He draws a little owl in the corner with big eyes, half hidden behind a curtain. He doesn't know why he adds it, but once he does, the picture looks right. At 5, Adam gets a call from a number he doesn't recognize. He almost doesn't answer, then does. The voice on the other end is steady, careful, male. "Mr. Parker? This is Rob from Stonebridge Bank. I'm calling to verify a new beneficiary change that just came through." Adam grips the counter. "No," he says. "That's fraud. Block it. Flag it. I'll be there in the morning." Rob clears his throat. "The request came through the business portal with multi-factor, so our system treated it as normal." Adam shuts his eyes. "Shut it down," he repeats. "Now." Rob says he will. The call ends. Adam puts the phone on the table like it burned him. How? He whispers. April stands, voice firm. OW, she says. They're still reaching in. She looks at Jake. Buddy, will you step into the living room a sec? Jake knows that tone means adult talk with sharp edges, so he grabs his sketchbook and sits on the couch. He hears their voices low and tight. He hears the words portal, token, remote access, old laptop. He thinks of the black flash drive and the extra phone under the violin case felt. He thinks of hidden doors in a house you thought you knew. At 7 there's a knock at the door, 3 quick taps like a secret code. April peeks through the camera and relaxes. It's Detective Ortiz again, off duty in a windbreaker. She steps in, rain on her shoulders. I'm not here long, she says. 2 updates and a request. 1. Derek made a call from holding we traced to a prepaid device. The call lasted 9 seconds. We think it was to OWL. 2. Brooke tried to message OWL by writing the letters on her palm during intake. We caught it on video. She's scared of them. That makes me think OWL is bigger than I guessed. She looks at Adam. The request, until we find OWL, don't post your schedules. No live check-ins. Keep your circle small. We'll have a cruiser due passes tonight. Adam nods, thanks her, tries not to look as tired as he feels. Before leaving, Marlene crouches to Jake's eye level. You did your part, she says. Now let us do ours. If anything feels off even a little, you call me. No hero moves alone. Deal? Jake nods. Deal. She leaves her card on the table with a handwritten note. Call anytime. No matter what. Night drops fast like someone flipped a switch. The rain comes back and paints the streetlights with halos. They lock the doors. They double-check the windows. The house hums. Jake brushes his teeth and stares at himself in the mirror longer than usual. He looks older than yesterday, or maybe that's just the way shadows play on cheeks. In bed he can't sleep. He listens to the roof talk to the rain and counts the seconds between thunder and light like Mom taught him. The numbers are big, which means the storm is far, which should feel safe, but his chest still feels tight. His phone buzzes quietly on his nightstand, a text from an unknown number. His throat goes dry. He knows he shouldn't open unknown messages. He also knows fear gets bigger if you never turn on the light. He taps. The message is a picture of the park where they fed the ducks, taken at night. The footbridge gleams wet. The water is black glass. Under the image are 5 words. Come alone. Bring the folder. A second message follows before he can breathe, or Dad loses everything. His whole body goes cold. He stares at the words until they blur. He hears a soft knock at his door and jumps. Jake. Adam whispers. You okay? Jake locks his screen and sticks the phone under his pillow like a guilty thing. Yeah, he says, voice too high. Just thinking. Adam opens the door a crack. The hall light makes a gold line on the floor. Want me to sit for a minute? Jake hesitates, then nods. Adam sits on the edge of the bed. He doesn't ask questions. He just puts a hand on the blanket near Jake's knee. They breathe together for a while. When Mom got sick, Adam says softly, I thought strength meant I couldn't be scared. But I was wrong. Strength meant I did the next right thing even while I was scared. He squeezes the blanket like it's a hand. If something scares you, you don't have to carry it alone. Jake feels the phone against his leg like a small hot rock. Thanks, he whispers. Adam kisses his forehead like he hasn't in a long time. Sleep, he says. I'm right here. He leaves the door cracked and the hallway lamp on low. Jake stares at the ceiling. The text feels like a dark pebble in his mouth. He could tell his dad. He could show Detective Ortiz. He could also protect his dad by not making it bigger. His 9-year-old brain tries to be a bodyguard and a son at the same time. It hurts. He pulls the phone out and types, Who is this? The reply arrives like the sender was waiting with a finger over the button. OW. The next bubble appears, pops, appears again like the person is choosing each word with tweezers. I knew your mother. Jake's heart stops and then slams hard. His hands sweat so much he almost drops the phone. He types, Prove it. A photo comes through. It's old, slightly grainy, taken on a beach. His mom, Megan, is laughing, head back, hair wild, wearing that same blue dress from the frame. But this photo is from a different angle, like someone stood to the left of the person who took the family's copy. Under the photo, 3 more words. Ask your father. Jake sits up, every part of him humming. He whispers to the room, How? Like the lamp can answer. He pads down the hall in socks so he won't wake the floor. Adam is at the dining table, laptop open, papers spread like a paper fan. He looks up quick, worry-ready, then softens. Can't sleep? Jake shakes his head and holds up his phone. Dad, he says, voice a thread. Did Mom know someone who called themselves OWL? Adam's face changes in a way Jake has never seen, like a door opens in his memory that he sealed on purpose. Adam leans back like the chair is suddenly too close. He rubs his mouth. Where did you hear that? Jake holds out the phone. Adam doesn't take it yet. He looks at the wall behind Jake, the photos, the center of nothing. When he speaks, his voice is slow. Before you were born, when your mom had just started her small charity, there was a donor who liked to stay private. They signed emails OWL. They helped us once with a hospital bill when insurance messed up. We never met them. We only got letters. Your mom said it felt like kindness from a shadow. He finally takes the phone and sees the beach photo, the angle a little different than the one they own. His eyes shine. Where did this come from? Jake's mouth opens but no words fall out. He wants to protect his dad from fear. He also knows lies are seeds that grow too fast. He picks the smaller wrong. Someone online, he says. I was searching our photos. It's not the whole truth. He hates how it tastes. Adam studies the picture for a long time, then sets the phone down like it might break. If OWL helped us then and now they're tied to Brooke, he says, more to himself than to Jake, that means this goes back further than we thought. He looks at Jake and the fear there is clean, not messy. You don't talk to unknown people, okay? Even if they say they knew Mom. If anyone messages you, you show me or Detective Ortiz. We fight this together. Jake nods. Okay. The phone buzzes again like it heard its name. He taps the screen with a finger that isn't steady. A new text, you have 10 minutes. A live pin drops on the map, small and bright at the park bridge. Another text, no police. Another, bring the folder. Adam sees the bubbles appear and the map glow. He goes still. Give me the phone, he says, calm hardening. Jake hands it over. Adam studies the pin. He stands jaw set. We're not going anywhere, he says. He types a short reply, we don't deal with threats. Within seconds, a photo appears that turns the room. Colder than the rain. It's their front porch taken from outside right now. You can see the wreath April hung in spring and never took down. You can see a shoe mat with the word home. You can see in the bottom left corner, the edge of a person's coat. The message under the photo reads, then I come in. Adam moves fast but quiet. He turns off the lamp. He points to the stairs. Up, he whispers. Bedroom. Closet. He taps his phone open and texts Detective Ortiz one word. Now. He grabs the small bat he keeps by the door because city life taught him small tools matter. He walks to the peephole and looks out. Rain is a curtain. The porch is empty, but the emptiness looks arranged, like a stage between scenes. He steps back and gestures again. Jake's feet want to freeze but his body obeys the voice he trusts most. He tiptoes to his room and slides into the closet behind hanging shirts that smell like laundry soap and his dad. He hears Adam lock the bottom bolt, then the top, then the chain. The house breathes. The rain whispers. Second stretch. The kitchen window clicks. It's a tiny sound, but in a quiet house, it's a shout. Adam moves toward it slow, bat held low, breath steady. He taps his phone screen and turns the camera toward the dark window above the sink. He sees there, clear as a fingerprint, the bottom edge of a gloved hand trying the latch. He backs away and texts again. Side window. A distant siren wakes up and begins to come closer, slow at first, then faster. The hand disappears. Footsteps thump on the porch, then quiet. The doorbell rings, one long press like a finger leaning hard. Adam doesn't answer, doesn't move. The bell stops. Silence. Then a soft voice, female, careful, carrying through the wood. Adam, it's Marlene. Let me in. Adam almost laughs, but it comes out like a cough. He texts Detective Ortiz. Are you at my door? Her reply arrives in 1 second. No. 2 blocks out. Do not open. Something in Adam that still wanted to believe in easy solutions clicks off for good. He stares at the door like it's a liar. The voice outside tries again, now lower, more urgent. Adam, open now. It's not safe. Adam puts the bat down and picks up his phone with both hands, thumbs moving fast. Neighbors' lights. He flicks on the front porch flood, then the living room lights, then the upstairs hall. He makes the house bright like a stage. Shadows jump back. The fake detective voice goes quiet. Footsteps on the porch again. The door camera catches a blur, a person stepping out of frame away from the lens, and then only rain. Sirens grow big and blue. A cruiser stops hard in front. Real voices now. Real knocks. Police. Adam opens only when he sees Detective Ortiz's face through the peephole, wet hair stuck to her forehead, badge up. Officers sweep the rooms in practiced arcs. One checks windows, one checks the back alley, one checks the basement where dust keeps secrets. They were here, Marlene says, hands on hips, eyes burning. They're fast. She looks at Adam. You did right. You didn't open. She lowers her voice. We think OWL has someone watching you physically and someone inside a system. 2 fronts. We'll rotate a car to sit on the curb. You and Jake don't answer doors unless you see me or uniformed officers you can verify by calling dispatch. Adam nods. He swallows and it clicks loud in his throat. They sent a picture of my porch, he says, and a photo of my wife years ago from a new angle. Marlene's jaw tightens. They want inside your head. Don't let them rent space. She turns. Officer Davis, set up the outside camera we brought. I want motion alerts on both corners. She looks at Adam again. And I want you to try very hard to sleep. He half laughs, half sighs. I can try. After the police leave 2 officers in a car by the curb and take positions that stare down rain like it's a suspect, the house exhale is loud enough to hear. Adam opens the closet slowly. Jake steps out, cheeks blotchy, shirt wrinkled, eyes wide but steady. I heard the fake voice, he whispers. It sounded like her but not her. Adam pulls him close. We're okay, he says, and this time the words feel more true because he can point at the car lights outside like proof. They sit on the couch with the TV on mute, just to have a moving picture that doesn't talk back. At midnight, Adam dozes for the first time in 2 days. Jake watches his dad sleep, the lines on his forehead smoothing like someone ironed them. He stares at the phone on the coffee table, screen dark, and imagines an owl perched on a fence in the rain, watching their windows with round eyes. He dreams, but not the soft kind. In his dream he's back in the ballroom and his voice won't come out. He opens his mouth and only water spills. He tries again. He wakes with a tiny sound and sees 3:07 a.m. glowing on the microwave. He pads to the kitchen for water and stops at the back window without meaning to. The yard is black, the neighbor's tree a shadow, the fence a line. Then he sees it, a small light low to the ground, blinking twice, pausing, blinking twice. It looks like a bike light. It looks like a code. He holds his breath and counts. Blink, blink, pause, blink, blink, pause. 4 times. He whispers, why twice, to nobody. The phone on the counter buzzes again. He almost doesn't touch it. He touches it. A single text sits on the screen, 2 taps. Back gate. 10 minutes. Alone. He stands there with the cold water in his hand and feels every instruction he has been given collide in the narrow hallway of his chest. Tell Dad. Don't go. Don't answer. Don't be a hero alone. He also feels the picture of the porch and the moving hand on the window and his dad's tired face like a map drawn too many times. He sets the glass down and it makes a noise louder than it should. He winces. He looks at the couch. Adam breathes slow and deep. The patrol car lights paint the wall in soft blue waves. He thinks of the little ducks at the park and the way they trust a hand that feeds them because they don't know a hand can hurt. He whispers to the room, to the air, to his mother if she hears him, what's the next right thing? He pulls on his hoodie, the gray one with the frayed cuffs. He slides his shoes by the door like paper. He picks up his fake blue folder, the one from school with drawings, and tucks it under his arm. He writes 3 words on a sticky note and leaves it on the table where his dad's hand will find it if the house sneezes. Bathroom back soon. It's not true. He hates that it isn't. He opens the back door slow, slow, slow. The new outside camera's tiny red eye watches him like a star. He thinks of the police car out front and how they said to call. He thinks of the 2 blinks. He steps into the rain. It kisses his face cold. He walks along the side of the house, past the bins that smell like last week's dinners, past the rose bush that Brooke planted and never watered, to the back gate. The light blinks again, blink, blink, pause, blink, blink. He stands on the thrill of doing something he knows is wrong for a reason he thinks is right. He unlatches the gate. A shadow steps from the neighbor's hedge, tall and thin, a hood up, a face darker than the night behind it. A voice, low and calm, speaks his name like it has been saying it for years, Jake. He freezes. The fake detective voice is gone. This voice is softer, almost kind. You grew fast, the voice says. Almost as fast as your courage. The hood lifts a little. A pale oval shows, eyes like coins catching distant light. The figure does not step close yet. The rain drips off the edge of the hood like slow beads. I don't want to hurt you, the voice says. I want to show you something your dad would never let you see. It's about your mother. The person lifts a small black phone and taps the screen. A video thumbnail glows. The frame shows a hospital room, a window, a bed, a woman's hand holding a blue stone. The play triangle waits. The voice softens to almost a whisper. This is her last message. Unheard. Unseen. She left it with me when she couldn't trust anyone else. You can have it, Jake. You just give me the folder and it's yours. The person extends the phone, not quite far enough for Jake to take. Rain ticks on plastic. The police car's blue wave rolls across the far wall and fades. Jake's breath shakes. His fingers curl around the fake folder so tight the cardboard creaks. His heart says mom. His training says run. The person tilts the phone another inch toward him, the rain making tiny stars on the screen. Choose, the voice says gently. Right now. A motion sensor light flares 2 houses down and dies. A dog barks once and gives up. Somewhere inside, a hallway clock begins to strike the half hour. The number of chimes is all wrong because time in this back corner of the yard is bending. And just as Jake raises his hand, just as the space between his fingers and the phone becomes the width of a single drop of rain, the side gate on the other end slams open so hard it bangs the fence, and a second shadow rushes in, boots thudding, a flashlight punching the dark. Police. Hands. The voice barks, bright, real, too late and just in time, and the tall thin figure whips the phone back, pivots like smoke and bolts for the alley, leaving behind one small thing that spins on the wet bricks and flashes a blue glint before it settles. A flat stone the color of the ocean in winter, exactly like the one in the video frame, exactly like the one Jake's mom used to keep under her pillow when the pain was bad. As the chandeliers tremble and whispers spread, the mysterious older woman steps forward, her trembling hand clutching a small black envelope. Brooke tries to smile, but sweat glitters on her forehead under the ballroom lights. Jake watches, heart pounding, while Adam struggles to breathe through shock and disbelief. The woman's voice cracks as she says, "You don't know me, Mr. Parker, but your wife Megan did. She asked me to find you before she died." The crowd gasps again, louder than before. Brooke's eyes dart toward the exit, calculating. The blue folder still hangs in Jake's grip, but now a darker secret is about to come to light. One that will expose a betrayal even deeper than money.